Wednesday, August the 26th. Lake level's just under 920. I think it was 919 3/4. It's come down a couple feet. And without any more rain, probably by our next fishing report next week, it should be down to 917. It should be down to normal. We'll have to see if they slow the water down or the generation or what they're going to do. But it's cooled down quite a bit. And, you know, the water temperature's trying to cool. In the morning, it's down about 77, 78, but still this afternoon it was about 83 degrees when I got off the lake. Still not a whole lot, going on. I've been hearing of some topwater fish going on, surfacing, some schooling action, but I haven't seen it. I've been looking for it, but I haven't seen it. Most of the fish I'm catching are still right out in front of the bushes. And it's kind of working, all over the lake, because the mid-lake area, to me, seems like it's got some of the dirtiest water right now. The upper rivers have got a pretty green color, and the mid-lake down towards the dam, like from Baxter, Ants Creek, on up towards the dam, got a lot more stain in the water, more of an algae bloom. It's got a lot more brown in the water. And, the water's falling down out of the bushes pretty good, but there's still 4 or 5 foot of water around the bushes. And I think what that's doing is pulling a lot of them fish that have been way back in there. It's pulling them out to where they're a little bit easier to get to. And what I've been doing in the morning is throwing either a spinner bait or a blade bait. And I wish I could tell you the exact type bank that you need to be fishing. But basically I'm keying on points, whether they're in the creeks or on the main lake. And I'm trying to key around willows and buckbrush. Now, the blade bait's just a chatterbait. I'm throwing this is a Strike King blade bait here, but the Z-Man chatterbait will work as well. And I'm kind of mixing it up between a 3/8 and a 1/2 ounce. In this particular one, I've got it tipped with a Zoom Swimming Fluke Junior for the trailer. It's got just like what we use on an Alabama rig. It's got good action in the tail. A lot of them come with a little trailer. What I do with it here? They come with a real small plastic trailer, but I've been using a swim bait on the back, so it gives off a lot more vibration. And I've been dropping this thing down out of sight by 2 or 3 foot, trying to work it between the bushes, around them, and out in front of them. With them fish up around the bushes, there's so many different ways that you can catch it. What I've been doing early, like I said, is just trying to cover as much water as I can, while the fish are fairly active. Throwing a spinnerbait or the chatterbait, and I'm throwing a War Eagle 3/8 ounce, and I'm mixing up the colors, but this is a mouse color here, but a chartreuse and white will work as well. And the same thing, if I can see the bait, I'm dropping it down a little bit, just kind of slow rolling it. And I've also been throwing a crankbait. Now, my best bite on the crankbait has probably been up the Upper James and up in Flat Creek. I've been catching a lot more numbers of fish way up in the river arms than I am on the mid-lake. But the fish up there are just keepers. A lot of them are 16-inch fish or so, but, 1.5, 2 pound fish. I'm not getting as many bites down in the mid-lake area, but the fish seem to be a lot bigger when I do get a bite down in that end of the lake. But up in the river, what I've been throwing is square-bill crankbaits. I've been throwing some Strike Kings, Bandits, but I'm throwing either a 1.5 or 2.5 or this little Bandit 200. Most of the time, keeping the boat about 6 to 8, 10 foot of water out in front of the bushes with the crankbait and just covering water. And, a lot of times whenever you get a bite, you're going to get 2 or 3 bites in the same spot. And you can usually tell one area that's better than another. You can see bait fish for one, and you can see bluegill flipping around. That seems to be the areas that I'm getting bit. Now, what I'm doing, once that kind of slows down throughout the day, now there's still a drop shot bite going on, 18 to 22 feet deep. But, it's really been a grind. So, but the shallow bite has too, with a jig and like a beaver style bait. But once the reaction bait slows down, I've been keying on the same type bushes and banks, and even out in front of the bushes a little bit with a jig. I've talked to some guys that are catching them on Ned rigs out in front of the bushes. Now, I've been using a 3/8 ounce finesse jig, and I'm trying to use something like in a bluegill color. This is a 3/8 ounce Snowden jig, and I got a Rage Craw. I'm using my trailer, whether it be like a Netcraft, Pocket Chunk, or the baby Rage Craw. I'm wanting something that's got a lot of tail action, because sometimes I'll actually be swimming it by the bushes just like you would the spinnerbait. Other times I'll be fishing it right down on the bottom, just dragging it along. Now, I am catching some fish out of boat docks, probably 8 to 15 foot on the jig. There again, I got to fish a lot of docks, and normally whenever I get a bite, I'll get 2-3 bites off the same dock. Another bait that I've been using, I've been Texas rigging a beaver, or a beaver style bait. See, this is I got another reaction renovation here. This is a Strike King. It's called Structure Bug, real similar to a beaver. And the colors that seem to be working good, like an Okeechobee Crawl, Blue Swirl. This is a California 420. It's working well. And I'm just Texas rigging it on a 1/4 ounce weight with a flipping hook, and I'm pegging the weight so that it goes through the brush a lot better. And I'm fishing that in the exact same places I'm fishing early with the chatterbait and the spinnerbait. The only thing, in the morning I'm covering a lot of water, fishing fast. Once we start flipping, then we're methodically working all the bushes and the laydowns. Usually if you can get a couple bites off of a certain type of bush or laydown, then it seems like you can go to the next area and repeat it. But every day it seems to be a little different. Like I said, water's going down 8 to 9 inches a day, so the fish are on the move quite a bit. I do have problems getting bit in the same spots from one day to the next. It seems like I always got to be on the move. Now, last week I talked about Sportsman Factory Outlet. The store in Springfield was going to be shut down. Well, they reopened today at their new location over there on, I think it's 3031 North Martin, but it's right off of Exit 84 and Interstate 44. They're going to have a grand opening Friday, September the 11th, and I'll have more details on that as we get closer, but I'm sure they're going to have blowout sales on like a lot of tackle that they move from one store to the next, rods and reels, a lot of different things, and I'll get some more information to see if they're going to have some special speakers there or what else going on for sure. So till next week, good luck, good fishing.